Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So as you can see by the title of this video, we are going to be doing a pick a card reading about your past life love story with your soulmate slash twin flame, whichever title you go by. And I've mentioned in the past that I try to limit these types of readings because, the soulmate twin flame journey is ultimately about healing ourselves and becoming whole within ourselves. And that other person, of course, they're significant and they're definitely relevant. But I try not to focus too much attention onto the other person because it can distract us from our own journey. But I do understand the importance of these types of readings because sometimes we just need some sort of clarity, some sort of closure, some sort of like guidance and direction, when it comes to this other person because of how intense the connection can be and just all the things that we experience like on this journey. Sometimes we really just need some guidance. So, I try to limit these types of readings, but I will be definitely doing them whenever I feel called to do them. So basically we'll be looking at your past life with this person, any type of hardships that you may have experienced together, why you most likely ended up in separation. And I feel like this will be most relevant for those of you who are currently in separation because the energy from the cards that I was getting, it was separation energy. So it's like you were separated in a past life and you're separated in this lifetime. And I'm going to be giving you like guidance on how to kind of complete this cycle. So yeah, I really hope that this reading is helpful for you guys. And also I am offering personal readings right now. I am open. If you want to book a reading, if you watch this pick a card reading and it resonates with you and you want a more in-depth one, then you can book a personal reading with me and the link will be in the description box. Oh, and there's also one more thing I wanted to mention. Speaking of personal readings, I wanted to tell you guys that I am featured on a site called Nova Network. And this is not sponsored at all, but I did want to mention it to you guys because I think a lot of you would find this beneficial because I know a lot of you are into tarot and astrology and things of that sort. So basically, Nova Network is a company or a business that was started by one of my mutuals. Her name is Jade. And if you are on Twitter and you're into astrology, I'm pretty sure you know who Jade is. She is SZA's personal astrologer. And her and her business partner, Ty, created this website, which is basically a spiritual directory. So if you ever want to book any type of reading, like a tarot reading or an astrology reading and things of that sort, there are a bunch of different readers. I guess you can call them like spiritual gurus, things of that sort, on this site where you can browse through the directory and you can use different filters on the directory to choose the right reader for you, specifically for the type of reading that you're wanting to do. And if you're someone who offers services, like you're a reader or an astrologer or anything like that, you can also be featured on the site and they give you free promo. So definitely recommend doing so. And again, this is not sponsored, but I wanted to mention it to you guys because it's amazing. And again, I am featured on there and also my personal readings are open. So let's go ahead and dive into your pick a card reading. For those of you who are new to pick a card readings, what you're going to want to do is pause the screen, look at the 3 cards that are shown to you and use your intuition to choose which one resonates most with you, and then go into the description box and click the timestamp of the pile that you chose and your messages will be waiting for you there. And if you feel called to more than one of these piles, then go ahead and watch whichever ones you feel called towards, whether it be 1, 2, or 3. Just watch whatever your intuition tells you. So yeah, let's go ahead and dive into this. Pause the screen if you need a minute to choose which card, and let's get started on your past life messages. Okay, group number 1, let's go ahead and look at your past life with your twin flame slash soulmate, whichever label you use. So what I'm seeing here is, well, first of all, we're going to start out with your personality and then we're going to do their personality. So what I'm seeing here is that in this past life, you were someone who was very passionate, Like you had a lot of very strong energy I'm picking up on in this reading. It's like a lot of strong energy that's being projected outward. So like the way that you spoke, it was like very passionate. When you would get connected to someone, it was very passionate. Like there's a lot of fire that's here. More than likely you were a fire sign in this past life. And I am also seeing here that you may have had an issue with your temper. You when you got mad, you got really, really mad. And it just looks like at times that could cause an issue or that can cause a problem. But for the most part, I feel like you overall were a good person. Just because you had like a temper and things of that sort doesn't mean that you were a bad person. But I do definitely see that within the cards. And that very well could stem from being mistreated. Usually when people do have these bouts of anger that explodes out of them is usually because there's some sort of like underlying repressed emotion where they have been hurt in some way. So it's like pain that has been repressed and it comes out explosively whenever there's any type of like conflict. So that's what I'm seeing for you. Very likely that you experience some sort of like pain or betrayal very early on in your life. Now, I am also seeing the Devil card and the Ten of Cups in the reverse. So that kind of confirms what I just said. With the Devil card being here, again, I'm relating this back to your early life. Like you underwent a lot of like toxic things in your early life, toxic connections, more than likely a toxic family, because the Ten of Cups is here in the reverse. And the Ten of Cups to me is the family card. So, with that being there next to the Devil card, I'm reading that as like a toxic family or growing up in a toxic household. And because of that, you had a lot of pain, you had a lot of trauma and things of that sort. And again, it was all very repressed. And at times it would just kind of explode out of you. I do also see that you had some issues with codependency as well. And some issues with addiction as well. And when I say addiction, it doesn't have to be drugs. You could be addicted to anything. You could be addicted to gambling. You could be addicted to food. You can be addicted to anything, especially if you feel a sense of emptiness or if you have any type of like emotional scars that you're trying to run from. Usually what will happen is people will develop some sort of addiction or codependency in order to mask that. So I do see that when you got attached to someone, you would get really, really attached to them. And it was very difficult for you to walk away, even if they showed you that they're not good for you. So moving on to your person, we have the Jupiter card and the Aquarius card in the reverse. Okay, so the first word that I'm hearing for your person is impressive. Like when people see them walking by, they can't help but to stare, you included. Like when you saw them, like you couldn't keep your eyes off of them. People see them as very impressive. There's something about their energy that really, really stands out. I also do feel like this person was very well off financially with the Jupiter card being there. Excuse me. It's like the energy of always having enough. Like they were never in lack of anything when it comes to like the material world. So it looks like they were well off financially. This person could be a bit manipulative at times. They're manifesting, or their energy seems to be manifesting as the Aquarius shadow energy, where they can be a bit manipulative because they were highly intelligent, and so they knew how to kind of use their intelligence and their words to kind of outsmart people at times. And then also there were times where this person definitely lacked compassion. Like whenever they were in a situation where a person needed to be comforted emotionally, it's like they weren't able to give that. They respond to emotions in a way that's very kind of like cold and repressed. So I can see where this is going already. We have like you on the one end, this fiery, explosive person, very emotional, and then we have this person that's kind of like logical, analytical, kind of cold. I can see where this is going. So the Star card is coming up again on their end, definitely an Aquarius, strong Aquarius energy, but like I said, it's manifesting as the shadow aspect of Aquarius energy. I also am hearing that this person likes to play the field. So they didn't really believe in traditional like monogamous relationships. And the Seven of Swords came out when I was shuffling earlier. So to me, it looks like they didn't believe in monogamy. They didn't believe in like, having a one-on-one relationship, but they didn't express to you that they don't believe in that. They acted like they do believe in monogamy. They acted like they did want to be with one person, but secretly they just could not be with just one person. They needed to be with more than one. Like the way their brain is just wired. I'm not sure exactly what happens to this person to make them, well, I'm not going to say what happened to them, because some people really just, prefer to be polygamous. But the issue with them is that they're not honest about it, because they knew that you would not go for that. Like, you weren't having it, So this person was very weak when it came to, cheating, I guess. That's what I'm hearing. It's like they were very weak when it came to stepping outside of their relationship. It's like they couldn't resist. And I can imagine that did not go over well for you whatsoever. So the way that you saw this person, we have the 8 of Wands and we have the Magician card. So you were extremely passionate about this person. Like I said before, very explosive. So when this person would do wrong, it's like you would just explode on them. And with the Magician card being here in the reverse, it's kind of like you're ready at all times to burn the relationship to the ground. Like, when they do something wrong, you're ready to like fly off the handle, curse them out, just burn it to the ground. Like, you just don't even care. You would end up, kind of coming to your senses later and regretting it. But in the moment, it's like you're so caught up in the emotion of what they've done that you're not even thinking about the fact that you can possibly ruin this connection long term. I wouldn't even say that you're ruining it, because they're ruining it with their actions, So that's what I'm seeing here. I'm just feeling like a very hurtful energy, constantly feeling hurt by them, because they are someone who you look up to. I feel like there's like a bit of an age gap that's here. They're a bit older than you, or they just have a lot more life experience. And so they kind of teach you a lot of things as well. It's like they are a partner, but they're also like a guide to you. So you have a certain level of respect for them. And because of that, whenever they would step out and do certain things to hurt you, it would like cut you even deeper, because you thought so highly of them. And so, it's like when they would hit that wound, you would just go off on them. You would just go off. And I can't really say that I blame you, but I'm going to keep my own personal opinion out of this. The way that they felt about you, the 8 of Cups and the 7 of Swords. Oh boy. Okay. So this person, they were just always willing to walk out on you, is what I'm hearing. It's like they were always willing to abandon you when you were in a fit of rage. And I get that to an extent, because it's like boundaries, I guess. Like, oh, don't attack me. I'm setting a boundary. I'm leaving, right? But it's like they keep doing certain things to violate you first. And then when you react and explode, then they withdraw and walk away. And it's not like they were trying to withdraw in order to purposely hurt you or make you feel bad. It's like they would withdraw because they genuinely don't like conflict, but they're causing the conflict by their actions. So what did you even like about each other? I'm gonna pull 2 more cards, because I'm like, how did you end up together? Because there's a lot of negativity that's kind of here. Okay, so 6 of Pentacles and the 5 of Cups. All right, so what attracted you to this person, besides what I mentioned earlier about the fact that they were like a teacher, or they were like very mature? What attracted you to them is the fact that you have lost, or by the time you met them, you had lost so many people in your life. You had grieved so much loss that you were just really wanting something stable and long term. Like, you were waiting for that person who just isn't going to leave you, who you can depend on for the rest of your life. You were very much tired of having people kind of snatched out of your life, like whether it be they betrayed you, they cut you off, or they ended up dying. It's like you just experienced a lot of grief and a lot of loss, and you were just really, really wanting to settle down. And that was a part of the appeal of this person, because they're a bit more cold, quote unquote, and analytical. They seem to be a bit more stable, right? Like, people who are more controlled in their emotions, you're like, okay, stability. You equate that with stability. But what you didn't see is that their actions would ultimately cause you to become unstable. You see what I'm saying? But that's what you liked about them, is that you saw that you could possibly have stability with them. And again, you did look up to them, and they did teach you a lot of things that you were not previously aware of. So what they liked about you, is that you were willing to learn. This person seems to have a bit of a, like, I don't want to call it a God complex, but kind of like they enjoy being around people who who they feel they're superior to a little bit, like they can teach them, like they can guide them. It's an Aquarius thing. I'm an Aquarius, so this person is giving me heavy Aquarius energy. They really enjoyed the fact that you were very open to them teaching you and that you kind of like looked up to them. They really, really like that about you. But also they like the fact that you had the ability to get them out of their head. Like, because they were such an analytical person, they would think a lot. And at times it's like they would just sit around and ruminate in their thoughts. And you were able to kind of get them out of their comfort zone. And, you know, fire signs are good for that. Fire signs are good for, you know, come on, let's get up and get dressed and go to the park. Let's go and have fun outside. You know, fire signs are good for that. You know, they're good for taking an air sign out of their head, out of their thoughts. So I feel like this person really liked that about you as well. So yeah, there were some positive aspects to the relationship, but I feel like the main issue was that this person had a problem with not sneaking around. They had a problem with that. They it's like they needed it for some sort of like validation. They needed to have people like competing for them. And I just feel like you just weren't having it. You just were not having it. It was very hurtful for you because you had already experienced so much trauma and so much loss in your life that this person who you really are attached to and love, the fact that they are just like disregarding you like that and in favor of wanting other people's attention, it was just really, really disturbing you, really disturbing your energy. But you still would not let the connection go. Like I mentioned earlier with the devil card, you wouldn't let it go. It's like you wanted to fight for it. You wanted to prove yourself, pretty much. So the lesson that you were supposed to learn in this past life from this person is how to let go. Basically, how to be in a situation that's no longer serving you and to actively choose to walk away from it rather than having the universe interfere and have it ripped away from you. And I feel like, I'm not going to say you failed that lesson, but kind of. I don't know if you can really consider it a failure. It's like you did become aware of the lesson, but I'm saying that you may have failed it because I'm seeing here that your relationship ended when this person passed away. So that leads me to believe that you did not walk away from it. You see what I'm saying? You see, it's like, I'm trying to figure out the best way to describe this. It's like the lesson that you were supposed to learn was to find the value and self-worth within yourself and then cut ties with the relationship rather than someone leaving you or rather than the universe having to drag you out of it. Like knowing when to let go with your dignity, you know, not letting these connections get to the point where you are completely drained and depleted and have to crawl your way out of it. You know, we've all been in those relationships, right, where we stayed for way too long and by the end of it we're just completely devastated and broken and it's like I should have walked out instead of having to be dragged out. If you've ever seen Tyler Perry's movie Diary of a Mad Black Woman, remember when, you know, her husband was mistreating her in the beginning of the movie and she still wasn't leaving, and then one day she came home and her husband was like, I'm moving my mistress in and you got to get out, and then he dragged her out. That's kind of what I mean. It's like the universe wanting you to kind of walk out instead of being dragged out. You see, but I feel like you didn't really get an opportunity to do that because, well, I'm not going to, we'll get into how the relationship ended. First, we're going to talk about what this person was meant to learn from you. So this person from you, they were supposed to learn how to be more compassionate and be more nurturing. With the Empress card coming out, it's like they were meant to get more in tune with their feminine side. And it doesn't matter if they were a man or a woman, we all have feminine energy. So they were meant to get more in tune with their feminine side, meaning that they were meant to tap into their emotional side. Like they were meant to be more, or to find that part of them that was more loving, that was more compassionate. Because I feel like that part of them was cut off a very long time ago, and it was actually hindering them from being able to find real love. And I feel like that's why they were always playing the field, and like they have a relationship, but they're always like, you know, looking for other options. It's like some sort of wound that they have. And, you know, it really affected their ability to be in touch with their feminine side, to be in touch with their emotional side. And so it really turned them into more of like a logical, quote unquote, analytical person that kind of like lacked empathy and lacked compassion and was a bit manipulative. Was a bit manipulative as well. With the Nine of Pentacles being here in the reverse, I feel like they were also supposed to learn how to put someone else before themselves for once, which, you know, might sound odd because, you know, a lot of the times what we're teaching in these, like, you know, spiritual videos is how to put yourself first. But there's times where there are some people who actually need to learn how to put others before themselves, especially people who are like narcissistic and things of that sort, who only look after themselves. It ends up hurting the people that they love. But not only that, it usually means that they end up alone in the end, because eventually everyone is going to want to leave a person who is only focused on their self-interest. So, you know, a lot of narcissistic people who are very selfish, they end up being, you know, basically very cold and alone. And so the universe was trying to kind of open up this person's eyes to that through you, because you were such a sensitive person. You were such a an outwardly expressive person that there was no way that they could lie and say, oh, I didn't know I was hurting you that bad. You know, they couldn't do that. There's no way they didn't see the type of pain they were putting you in, because you put it on display very, very, very heavily. And so the universe wanted to kind of use you as a mirror to how much pain they are actually inflicting onto people, and how inevitably they're going to end up alone if they keep doing this and behaving this way. So yeah, it was like a mirror being set up between you two. They were supposed to see, like I said, their cold ways and how they harm people, and how being too self-focused can be the downfall of a potential good relationship. And you were supposed to see how to kind of leave a relationship and walk away with like your dignity and your pride. So the way the relationship ended, I do see that this person passed away. I don't feel like it was like a young, like when they were young, because the Hermit card is coming out. So to me, it seems like they did pass away like old, as they were older, but you were a bit younger than them as well. So that's a bit confusing. I'm gonna pull one more card. I'm trying to figure out how big this age gap actually was, because let me pull one more. Okay, I'm hearing that they caught some sort of sickness or some sort of illness. It's weird because it's like, I'm hearing it's like a cold. It was something very mild, but it still ended up killing them. Sorry, I should have put a trigger warning before that. Talking about death in here. I'll in the intro of this reading, I'll be sure to mention, you know, trigger warning for people who don't want to hear about death and how people have died. But yeah, I feel like this person did pass away from some sort of sickness, from some sort of cold. Obviously, it was very, very devastating and very, very heartbreaking for you. It feels to me that you never quite recovered from it. You never quite got over it, especially because it was unexpected. I really don't feel like this person died young, but it was just still a very unexpected death, put it that way. Now, what's interesting is that when this person passed away, they tried to help guide you and comfort you from the other side, but it was like you were so stricken with grief, it just felt like nothing could comfort you. Very, very sad. Okay, so I had to stop the recording really quickly. Someone was at the door. So yeah, you were just very stricken with grief to the point where it was very difficult for anyone to comfort you. I feel like you kind of stayed isolated for a very long time after this person passed away, and you could still be carrying that grief with you in this lifetime. Like, if you and this person are in separation, it could literally feel like they died, or like they passed away, because of the fact that they actually did pass away unexpectedly in this lifetime. You're still kind of carrying that subconscious trauma. And so when they leave you or separate from you in this lifetime, you feel that heavy grief all over again, because it has to be processed and it has to be purged and cleared this lifetime, because you've been carrying it with you and you never purged it, you never cleared it. And so giving yourself time to grieve in a healthy way, not suppressing or repressing the feelings, that can actually help to kind of relieve you of this heavy weight energetically that you've been carrying, you know, from this past life. Oof, this energy is very, very heavy. very, very heavy. So yeah, definitely there are parallels between that lifetime and this lifetime. So if you ask yourself, like, why do I literally feel like I'm going to perish without this person? You're still carrying, like I said, that shock of that unexpected death, and also just that very strong bond that you had with this person. Like I said, this is someone who you really looked up to. This is someone who you felt very, very attracted and attached to. And also, there's still that element of wanting this person's approval, like wanting their approval, wanting them to choose you and only you, not needing any outside validation, or you wishing that they didn't need outside validation from other people, but at the same time they kind of mirror you. It's like you need their validation and they need everyone else's validation. You see what I'm saying? So what you have to do is shift the energy, and once you stop needing their validation, you stop needing them to make you feel confident and make you feel whole, then it's like a switch happens where they also no longer need that outside validation. They also no longer need for like people to make them feel whole. I mean, if they actually follow the correct path and actually do the work, I mean, because they're human beings, so we have free will. But yeah, if they follow the plan or the path that's been written out for you to, like I said, you would switch into this mode of practicing self-love and being very self-focused and not needing this person's validation, and it would impact them in a way where they no longer need like outside validation. So in this lifetime, this person could be very like materialistic, or maybe they just need a lot of like attention from like the opposite sex or the same sex, whatever their orientation is. And like I said, that's like a mirror of how you also feel as though you need their validation and you need them to feel whole, when you absolutely positively do not need them to feel whole. So yeah, I mean, you have to be very patient with yourself, because like I said, there's a lot of heavy emotion that's here. So you're carrying lifetimes of trauma, and you have to be very gentle and very patient with yourself, and to seek out help, where you can find it, like support groups, therapy, things of that sort, to help you, close out this cycle through you finding self-love and feeling very whole within yourself, So that is it. I hope that was helpful, group one. If you feel drawn to any other pile, you can go ahead and watch it. It might, resonate with you. And if not, I will see you guys in my next video. Oh, also my readings are open. So the link to my Shopify to book a reading will be in the description box, and it will be in the comment section. All right, group one. Again, I'll see you over on the other piles if you choose them. And if not, I will see you in my next video. Okay, group number two. So I already filmed or already recorded your reading, and something happened to the recording. So I have to redo it, and I'm at a loss. Like I cannot believe that happened, but I'm going to rechannel the messages for you. And we're going to look into your past life with your soulmate / twin flame. So what I was seeing in the cards is that in this past life, you were someone who, it's like you were either very, very obsessed with something that you were interested in, or you had no interest at all. You definitely operated in extremes. And so when it came to your relationships, you were the type of person who would have like very passionate relationships that would start with like a bang, and it would start with a lot of sparks, but these types of relationships would also fizzle out very quickly. They would, well, yeah, I guess that would be the correct term for it. They would fizzle out, but I was second guessing that terminology because they would be quite explosive with the way that they would fizzle out. It wasn't like it started big and then suddenly both people became uninterested. It would be like it started big and passionate, and then drama, and then big explosive ending, so that's why I was like, okay, would fizzled out be the right, term for it? But yeah, I think you guys get what I'm trying to say. It's like it starts with a bang, it ends with a bang, and that cycle just kept on going over and over again. And usually those types of relationships happen because of some sort of like love addiction, some sort of codependency, where we can be addicted to the honeymoon stage of a relationship, and we can be addicted to like the extreme highs that come with those types of relationships. But we are not attached to that person in a healthy way, and we don't really know that person too well, so we attach too quickly, and because of those sparks, we feel like it's real. We feel like this is it, this is my one, and then their true colors start showing, and then the issues start, the clashing starts, and then, like I said, it usually ends in a way that's very explosive, and bridges get burnt and things like that. So I feel like that was like normal for you. That was a normal relationship cycle for you. And it just kept happening over and over and over again. And it's not that you were fine with it, but it was more like that was just your normal, if that makes sense. I am also seeing in the cards that you were someone who was very keen on justice. That was something I was picking up in your personality, meaning that you were just someone who tried to do the right thing. Like you had a lot of morals, a lot of ethics. Like you always wanted to do the right thing. You always wanted to do the fair thing. But at the same time, it's like, I'm trying to figure out the best way to describe this. Put it this way. You were someone who was just not judgmental of other people, because of the fact that you were just this person that was like always trying to do the right thing, and you just didn't want to ever cast any type of harsh judgment on anyone. Like when you saw someone who was more vulnerable or weaker than you, quote unquote, you would always try to help them rather than harm them. Like you're the type of person that if you see like a homeless person, you would make sure to, help them out, give them some food or give them some money. Like you were just not the type of person who liked to see people down and out. You were very compassionate in that way. And like I said, you were very big on justice. Like, so if you saw someone who was struggling, or you saw like the quote unquote underdog of a situation, you were always rooting for them and always trying to help them. But you had a problem with being like that with yourself. I feel like the compassion that you would give to other people and things of that sort, the understanding nature that you had, it's like you didn't give that to yourself. So during times where you would make mistakes and you were in a vulnerable position, you didn't give yourself that same help and care and compassion that you would give to other people. Now, immediately I'm picking up that has something to do with your childhood, of course. If you are that self-critical to the point where you beat yourself down when you make a mistake, but somehow you can still give love and compassion to other people, that just screams childhood trauma. That screams like a parent who kind of trained you to be that way, a parent who basically taught you that your needs don't matter, pay attention to my needs instead. And so you were kind of quote unquote trained to give that love to other people and compassion to other people, but giving it to yourself was very foreign, is what I'm seeing. So definitely some issues with self-esteem that was there, which would, kind of explain the explosive fly-by-night relationships, the love addiction, the codependency, that sort of thing. Now, on your person's end, but my guides did want me to make sure I state that you were a good person. You had a good heart. So your person on the other end, they were someone who was very similar to you in the sense that they had a lot of like morals, ethics. Like they were always trying to do the right thing. They just had a very strong sense of this is right and this is wrong, that sort of energy. And I feel like that's what connected you to each other in a way. Like when people share like core values, they have a better chance of having a long lasting connection rather than people who don't share core values. Those are the people who usually end up clashing because they have attached to each other based off of nothing but emotion, and their values do not match. And so they end up getting into arguments and having a bunch of conflict that they can't resolve because, again, their core values or who they are as a person deep down inside does not match up. So you and this person had similar core values. You kind of you thought the same, you behaved the same, that sort of thing. And I do feel like you just felt an instant spark or an instant connection, with this person. Now, unfortunately, there was a barrier that was there. This person was married. And I was seeing that very, very clearly in the cards. They were absolutely married. And, this obviously was an issue. I feel like you felt so drawn towards each other, but again, both of you had this very keen sense of what's right and wrong. You never want to put anyone in a position to be hurt. And so with this person being married, it's like you felt sympathy for their spouse, and they also felt sympathy for their spouse, and they felt like this is wrong, but it almost felt like you could not Like you couldn't resist each other, especially because I'm picking up that this person, they were compassionate to you in a way that you were compassionate to other people. You see, remember when I said that you could be compassionate to others and not yourself? They are like the first person who extended compassion to you, because again, this person was very similar to you. They had similar core values. They were someone who likes to extend compassion to people who are vulnerable and who are down and out. So they actually extended it to you in a way that you could not extend to yourself. They were constantly speaking life over you, constantly, giving you uplifting words. When you would make a mistake, they would be the one to say like, no, don't beat yourself up. So, you became very attached to this person, very attached to this person, of course, and they became very attached to you. But the marriage was there. And I feel like they tried, or both of you tried, to kind of stay away from each other. I think that you even could have like deluded yourself or fooled yourself into thinking like, oh, we could just be friends. But no, it's obvious that the feelings kept growing and growing and growing. And eventually you did start having an affair, which you both felt bad about, but not bad enough that you didn't do it. So you both felt bad about it. The episode, or the TV show that my guides are giving me as an example, is Golden Girls. Remember when Dorothy was dating this guy and she was like head over heels in love, and then she found out he was married and she was carrying on an affair with him? It was like that. So if you have ever seen that episode of Golden Girls, it's kind of like that. If you haven't seen that episode, highly recommending getting a Hulu account and watching Golden Girls, because it is the best show ever created. Now, like I was saying, this person, or your person, and you started this affair, and this person just felt over the moon. Like, I'm trying to figure out the best way to describe how you made this person feel. Their marriage was very hollow. It was very stagnant. It was very empty, but it was stable. They knew that their spouse was always going to be around. So they had stability in their marriage. And I feel like they did not want to leave it, not because of just hurting their spouse, but they also didn't want to leave that stability. It's like they wanted a guarantee that this spouse, that they're going to have a spouse that's always there. And so they had that. So they didn't want to give it up. And obviously you were very upset at this because you didn't want to be the side person for the rest of your life. You didn't want to be the person, that is a secret, because this person's spouse knew nothing about you. They never found out about you, is what I'm hearing. So y'all must have been, very good at, at being sneaky, because they didn't find out about you at all. So you definitely wanted to marry this person, is what I'm hearing. You wanted to have a long-term life with them, which is a first for you, because like I said, you were so used to these addictive highs and lows of these fast, quick relationships, that this is the first time that you felt passion for someone that you also could see yourself being with long-term. And so, obviously you were very upset and devastated that this person was refusing to leave. It's not like you were pressuring them to leave their spouse, but you were making it clear that you wanted to be with them long term. And they were just kind of like, I can't, because of this, like, I need stability. I can't just run off with you. And what if things don't go well with you? What if things don't turn out right with you? Then I won't be able to get back with who I was with. And, they did not want to take that risk, is what I'm seeing. So it just got to a point where both of you decided that this type of connection just could not sustain itself. I'm actually hearing that there's something that happened to the spouse that made it so that this person decided, no, I have to cut this off. Now, I'm getting mixed messages here, so it could possibly vary depending on who's listening to this. For some of you, it's like the spouse got pregnant, and so they're like, okay, well, I can't have this affair anymore. For some of you, the spouse, and notice I'm saying the spouse because it's very hard to tell like what gender and sexuality and sexual preference is going on here. So just kind of take it as it resonates. But yeah, like this person, your soulmate / twin flame, their spouse also could have gotten like sick. It's like some life-changing event that took place where this person is like, I have to focus on my spouse. I can no longer have this affair with you. So they had to end it. And obviously you were devastated and heartbroken, but I feel like it was for the best because you would have stayed in this situationship. So this was like divine intervention to pull you away from this cycle that you were falling into with this person, that you were having a hard time walking away from because you were so magnetically pulled towards each other. So yeah, they ended up cutting ties, and you were, of course, devastated. I don't feel like you moved on to someone else. I feel like you kind of stayed alone, because this is like, you took this very, very hard. You took this very, very hard. Yeah, I'm seeing here that you did not move on and settle down with anyone. You may have had a couple more relationships that were like quick, passionate, fly by night, but I don't feel like you actually were able to connect to someone and settle down with them and have like long-term stability with them, because you were still in love with this other person. Very tragic, very sad. Now the lessons that you both were supposed to learn on your end, this person actually taught you about the value of stability in your life. The way that you were operating, like I said, it was a lot of highs and lows in your relationships. You would meet someone, boom, I'm in love, boom, I hate them, kicking them out of my life, and that spilled over into other areas of your life as well. Like, you couldn't keep a stable job. You would be in and out of jobs, in and out of friendships. It's like every area of your life was kind of going in that pattern. And this person kind of came and interrupted that pattern and showed you that there can be beauty in stability. There can be beauty in building a solid relationship instead of just chasing those highs and chasing, those passionate sparks and things of that sort. Like, they showed you that there's beauty in longevity. And I feel like that lesson spilled over into other areas of your life as well. Like, you decided that, okay, maybe I should get a stable career. Maybe I should get friends that are more stable. It's like, I think they taught you the value of stability, as heartbreaking as, the situation was. I do think that there was a lesson in self-worth that was here as well. Only because, you were willing to kind of stick around even though this person was married. And this is no judgment for me at all. I gotta make that clear. No judgment for me whatsoever. But, you were willing to kind of stick around and be like the other person, the secret or whatever. Even though this other person or your twin flame soulmate did treat you well, it's still an issue of self-esteem, because you would have hung on to them despite the fact that they were refusing to leave their partner. And we talked about issues with self-esteem earlier. Remember, I was saying that it seemed like someone was very harsh to you, like a parent or something, and they turned you into someone who was very self-critical and very hard on themselves. And so, those issues with self-esteem, would have been the thing that kind of kept you in, this situation where you weren't getting what you wanted, which was, long-term happy connection. So yeah, there was a lesson in self-esteem that was definitely there, a lesson in self-worth that was there. But overall, I feel like there was a lesson, of stability for sure. Now, for your person, the twin flame soulmate, the lesson that they were meant to learn from you was for them to know when to walk away from things that were stagnant in favor of things that they felt a strong passion for. It's like you both were very opposite. You lived a life of chasing passion, chasing those highs. They lived a life of just having like this stability, but to the point where it was like stale and boring. Like, life was like, basically them repeating the same day over and over again, the same routine. They didn't really feel very passionate about their spouse anymore. It's like the romance was kind of dead in the connection, but they were still, it was still a comfort zone. And you kind of interrupted that pattern for them and kind of made them feel something, made them feel this passion that they haven't felt in a very long time. And so I feel like the universe was kind of trying to teach them that sometimes when something is no longer serving you and it feels stagnant, it's okay to let it go in favor of something that you are more passionate about. And I do see why this person was so hesitant, though, because that sounds like a setup, right? It sounds like a setup, go and chase after that person because you're passionate about them and leave your stable partner behind. It sounds like one of those things where you'll end up getting the short end of the stick. It sounds like a very big risk, but even though it was a big risk, a big risk, that would have been better than them staying in like this loveless relationship that they were in just for the sake of comfort and stability. And again, just like with you, they also this also spilled over into other areas of their life. Like they would stay at like a job that just was no good for them. It was completely dead. They didn't have any passion about it. They were dreading every day they would go to work. It's like their relationship patterns, just like your relationship patterns spilled over into other areas of your life, their relationship patterns spilled over into other areas of their life. I feel like the universe was trying to teach them about the fact that life, life doesn't have to be exciting all of the time, but it should have some sort of passion in it. There should be some sort of like emotional intensity in it. You get what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't have to be passionate in the sense where it's like too passionate to the point where it turns toxic, but passion is still an important part of life. I really hope that makes sense. And I feel like that's what was supposed to be taught to them, that being in the stagnant space is just, it's not it. And they were supposed to kind of take a leap of faith and go towards you, because you were the person who they felt this very strong attraction to, and it was real. It was a real thing. It wasn't one of those things where it would have fizzled out as soon as the honeymoon stage was over. But again, I do understand their hesitation, and there was another person involved. Their spouse is a human being, so it's not that easy. But yeah, that's what I'm seeing. It just seems like you never quite got past each other. You never really quite got over each other. In this lifetime, I do feel like there is another blockage that's there between you two. I'm not sure if it's still another person, like maybe you have a person or they have a person. I'm not sure, but there is a blockage that's here. There is a blockage that's here this lifetime as well. Oh boy. Okay. I'm going to pull one more card for that, because immediately I felt like this wave of like frustration. Because you in this lifetime could be repeating this cycle where you're giving this other person all of the power, kind of, where they, like, the ball's in their court, just like it was in this past life. Like, you were kind of waiting for them to make the decision of whether or not they leave their partner, and then in this lifetime you may be mimicking that in a way where the ball may be in their court again, meaning that whatever blockage is taking place there, it's on their end, and they need to deal with it, or they need to make the choice to clear the blockage. And I feel like you could be like waiting for them to do that, and there could be a lesson here this lifetime about not waiting for them to do that, to kind of take your power back and take things into your own hands and make a decision for yourself that's in alignment with that's in alignment with self-worth and in alignment with self-love. But yeah, I do feel like there's frustration because there's something that is blocking, and this person is just not making any decisions, and the ball is just in their court. So to close out this cycle properly, I would say, again, like I just said, to take your power back by making a choice that's in alignment with self-love. What I'm hearing for some of you, just as an example, it doesn't have to apply to everyone, but I'm hearing that for some of you, this person could have you like blocked, and you could be like kind of waiting for them to come around, or waiting for them to unblock you or something like that. And the universe is wanting you to make the conscious decision to do what's in alignment with self-love, and to not wait for them. And I'm not saying, okay, be careful what I say, because I'm not trying to influence anyone to make any decision. It's up to you. You're on this path, but do what's in alignment with self-love. When someone blocks someone who has self-love, what does that person do? They say, okay, you're going to block me. I'm worth more than just waiting around for you, so I'm going my own way then. You see what I'm saying? And this is not to be like judgmental, or to say like, oh, you need to go ahead and how those types of advice, that advice can get. You see it all over social media, like, people are just like, yeah, just cut the cord and love yourself. And, you know, it's not that easy sometimes, but the universe is asking you to make a decision that's just in alignment with self-love and self-worth, no matter how difficult it may be. And, you know, take your power back, because, you know, you may end up with this person in the future, but you'll never be able to get there from a place of feeling disempowered, is what I'm hearing. I'm also hearing that in that past life, if you had cut ties early and said, no, I'm not going to be in this situationship with you, I'm not doing it, and kind of remove yourself as an act of self-love, this person would have actually kind of chased behind you and would have actually left their partner. And it's funny how that works, right? It's like when we want something so desperately and we're compromising our self-worth for it, we usually don't end up getting it. But if we make the decision and choose ourselves and our self-worth over anything else, it's just funny how that one thing that we wanted, it suddenly comes to us so easily and so effortlessly. You see? And so keep that in mind this lifetime. If you are like waiting, or like you're giving your power away to this person, don't do that. And I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but don't do that. Do what's in alignment with self-love. Ask yourself, if this is this someone who has self-love or self-worth, is this what they would do? And if the answer is no, then don't do it. If the answer is yes, then do it. And I guarantee there's going to be a major shift in your external world based off of this decision. And you will be very shocked at how that's going to turn out for you. So that is it. I really hope that this was helpful. If you feel like you resonate with any of the other piles, feel free to watch them. And if not, I will see you in my next video. And also, my readings are open, so I will link those in the description box and in the comment section down below. And again, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, group number 3. So let's look into your past life with your soulmate / twin flame, whatever label you go by. So we're going to start with your personality first, and then we're going to talk about theirs. So you're coming up as the Aquarius card and the Scorpio card in the reverse. So you were definitely someone who was very, very passionate about whoever you chose to attach to. With the Scorpio card being here in the reverse, that could be an indicator of like obsession. Like you will become quite obsessed with whoever you were close to. It's like your mind would be very fixated on them, and if you decided that you wanted to be with them, you couldn't think of anything else, is what I'm seeing here. I am also seeing that you were very a very outwardly confident person. Like when people would meet you, the word that they would use to describe you would be, like I said, confident, very charming, very likable. Like you had a lot of people who would kind of chase after you, like a lot of people who wanted to court you, a lot of people who wanted to, you know, date you. And you were just a very magnetic person. Like you definitely stood out in the crowd, but you were just very, very picky about who you chose to give your energy to. I feel like you enjoyed the attention that people gave to you, but you were not about to give it to them unless you felt a very, very strong connection with them. I feel like you preferred for your connections to be obsessive. Like you prefer to if you ever seen those like memes on the internet, or like those like these jokes that they I've seen on Twitter about like, I want to live in my partner's skin. That's how close I want to be to them. That's what I'm seeing for you. It's like you wanted that very, very, very close-knit, low-key obsessive relationship, and you were not going to invest your time into anyone unless you felt that way towards them, you know. So people could pursue you all they would like, and you would kind of, you know, like the attention, but you weren't about to entertain them, or you weren't about to attach yourself to them, is what I'm seeing. And I also do see that you were someone that when you want something, you really put energy and effort into it, and no matter how long it takes, you're going to continue to pursue it. Now, on your person's end, we have the Saturn card and we have the Libra card in the reverse. So with the Saturn card, your person definitely has been through a lot in this past life. A lot of harsh lessons that turned them into a very wise, mature person, but also turned them very cold, is what I'm seeing. They were someone who just did not see the value in relationships. I'm hearing like relationships are a waste of my time. People are a waste of my time. People are, I'm hearing people are evil. Okay. This person might have been like betrayed or something along those lines, but they just didn't see the value in relationships. They felt like it was more trouble than what it's worth. So they were definitely a loner, with the Hermit card being here. They were like addicted to their solitude. it's giving Virgo. I feel Virgo energy from this. They were very much addicted to their solitude, and they did not want to step outside of that. They did not want to step outside of their comfort zone, which was solitude, and let anyone in. It's like they just didn't see the point of it. But it was a problem because deep down inside, they actually did want connection. I feel like it's a natural human desire to want to connect to people. So they still had that in them. It was just deeply buried and suppressed. So on the surface, they just, kind of thought to themselves, I just don't want it. But deep down inside, they do. They did want to be connected to someone, in that way. But, I completely understand why they why they suppress that desire, because human beings, they can really be something else sometimes. They can really be something else, especially the ones who are not honest. And okay, anyway, I'm not going to insert my not going to insert my 2 cents in there, but just know I understand why this person wants to be a hermit. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing for them. Now, when you met each other, I feel like there was an instant connection. It happened very suddenly, like there was a spark very suddenly, but I feel like you felt the spark more than they did, only because again, their feelings are very buried and suppressed. So even if they felt it, I feel like they immediately stuffed it down. But like you felt it and you're like, oh, I have to act on this. Like coming up as the King of Wands, like you feel a spark, you're gonna go after and kind of act on it. So yeah, I feel like you did like try to pursue this person, and they were kind of keeping you at arm's length is what I'm hearing. Like the way that this person operated is that they, in their mind, they felt like, I have to keep people a certain distance from me emotionally so that if they ever leave, it won't affect me. Like they don't want to lose any sleep, not even one night of sleep over a person. No, it's like when they, in their minds, are like, if this person leaves, I should be able to recover like that. Like that's how much distance should be between me and this person emotionally. And that's what they try to do to you, is like keep you at arm's length and keep you at distance, which made you want to kind of pursue them even more, the old, like, we want what we can't have thing. So yeah, it made you want to pursue them even more. I do feel like you did build somewhat of a friendship, because I'm hearing that you bonded over your interests. I'm hearing that you enjoyed reading and so did they. So there were certain subjects that you were both knowledgeable about, and you kind of bonded through that. Like you had like a intellectual, mentally stimulating sort of bond. So you definitely bonded over that. So there was an intellectual connection, but the emotional connection was not happening, even though you were trying to make it happen and you were really invested in making it happen. Now, what's interesting is that this person was always very shocked at the fact that you had the ability to push their buttons and kind of trigger them with certain things that you would say. And I say they were shocked because usually people cannot trigger them. Like people say things about them and they're just like, whatever, because they're so emotionally closed off. It's like nothing that people say can really bother them or get to them. But it's like certain things that you would say, they would feel it. And I mean that in a good way and a bad way. I mean, like there are good things that you would say that would make them feel something, but then there were negative things you would say, like in the heat of an argument, that would hurt them. And they never let you see that, though. It's like they never wanted you to know that you were impacting them, but they were shocked that you were able to impact them like this. And the only reason that was happening is because of the fact that you actually have been together in a lot of lifetimes. And so you know this person like the back of your hand. Even though you didn't remember that you had been together for lifetimes, there were still those subconscious patterns that you still carried from past lives. So you still had like the ability to really get under their skin because you had already been with them for so long in these other lifetimes. And like I said, it was just very shocking to them, and they tried their best to hide it. But a part of them, I'm hearing a part of them enjoyed it because they were so emotionally suppressed for so long. It's like, I'm hearing like, this is the first time I felt something in a long time. But also, though, I do feel like at times they did resent you because of the fact that you would say certain things that, like I said, in the heat of like an argument or whatever, you would say certain things that were hurtful, and they would not express to you that it was hurtful. So you would just keep on doing it and keep on saying it because you felt like your words weren't getting through to them, if they weren't making an impact. So, you just kept going. It's like they never said, stop, that's hurtful. They never said that. They just completely concealed their emotions. So it just looked like they didn't care. And like I said, you would just continue to say certain things that would really get under their skin. And they started to resent you somewhat, and they started to put more and more distance and more space between you without actually telling you that, the things that you were saying were actually affecting them. You had no clue. And surprise, surprise, they actually did end up losing sleep over some of the things that you were saying, which is really crazy because, like I said, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. In their mind, they're like, I have to keep this person at arm's length so that they can't hurt me and I won't lose any sleep. But them keeping you at arm's length was so frustrating to you that you would get into arguments and then you would say things that hurt them and wound up making them lose sleep. You see what I'm saying? Self-fulfilling prophecy. It is definitely what I am seeing here. So I see that you were very dedicated to this person. It's like you didn't have a complete or a official title between you two, but you saw them as your person and you were holding on to them very, very tightly, even though they did not want to fully commit. And even though, like I said, they kept keeping you at arm's length, and they will also play like these little power games, like silent treatment and things of that sort, little power plays here and there, because when you would say certain things that would get under their skin, they would feel like they have to take their power back by being like silent towards you or being even more distant towards you. So it was kind of a roller coaster, kind of an up and down between you two for sure. Okay, so I feel like this up and down, back and forth thing went on for a very long time. Oddly enough, I'm hearing that it went on for years, which is very wild to me. Very wild to me. This push and pull thing went on for years. But again, I did mention earlier that you were very much willing to put in time and energy into what it is that you wanted. And they weren't going to stop you from doing so. Even though they were a bit closed off, they were still enjoying secretly the fact that there were feelings there. And so I do feel like this went on for years. But then divine intervention happened is what I'm seeing. When you find yourself in a very stagnant situation and you keep repeating the same cycles over and over again, you're repeating the same arguments over and over again, the universe does step in and kind of makes it so that a decision has to be made in order for things to shift, which I'm sure a lot of you have experienced, right? Like, if you've ever been at a job that you hated, but you kept going back to it over and over, and then suddenly the universe steps in and then you get fired, or maybe you get another job offer elsewhere. That's the universe saying, okay, this cycle has gone on long enough and I'm going to help you to step outside of it because something's got to give. So that's what I'm seeing happened. You actually had to relocate. Not sure if it's for a job or what, but I'm seeing very clearly that you had to move, you had to relocate, and you were going to be moving away from this person. And so, being the very bold person that you are, you asked this person to come with you to where you were going. And they declined, which is expected. They declined because of the fact that it's too much of a commitment. It's too big of a commitment to move for someone else, even though it's like technically you were in a relationship with each other. There was just no title, but you were doing this back and forth for years. So there was definitely love that was there by this point. But this person still had this cold, closed off thing about them. And they did not want to take you up on your offer. They did not want to take you up on your offer because, like I said, they felt like it would be too much of a commitment. Like, at that point, if you are relocating to be with someone, you're like in a relationship now. Like, there's no way. There's no way you can keep someone at arm's length at that point, So that's what I'm seeing, is that they were kind of like, they refused to go. And you were very devastated because you thought by this time you put so much energy and effort in. It's like, in your mind, I'm hearing like, I thought like that by this time they were like in love with me, at least. Like, like I put so much energy and effort in. I thought they were in love with me and that they would at least give some thought into making this move, but they didn't even think about it. I feel like they just immediately said no. Which was obviously very hurtful for you, and it never feels good to be rejected by someone that you love. And on top of that, now you have to deal with the grief of moving somewhere else away from this person, where now you can't even, see them and carry on this whatever you had going on, situationship. But that was the point, the divine intervention stepping in to say, no more of this, no more of this situationship. It's time, that, you've come to a crossroads. It's time for you to go left or right. No more of this situationship. And this person, like, they kind of decided for you that you didn't have a choice really, because they just didn't want to come. So I feel like you were very heartbroken. You ended up leaving, and they were heartbroken too, but they just tried their best to suppress it and to just move on with their life. But I feel like you never fully got over each other. There was still like this open-ended thing, like this question mark. Of like, what if I would have went with them? What if I would have moved with them? What would have happened with us? Would we have been happy? Things of that sort. A lot of unanswered questions that were there. And unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but as human beings, we have free will. So, nothing is written in stone when it comes to these soulmate twin flame contracts, because both people have free will. So if this person would have chosen to take a leap of faith and open up a bit and leave with you and relocate, maybe you would have, had a happy life moving forward, but it just didn't happen. I feel like in this lifetime, this person was supposed to learn to kind of open up and let someone in and let someone love them properly. And I feel like they were starting to, but it's like they didn't fully succeed at it, because whatever happened to them in life, it was that bad. It was that bad to the point where years of putting energy and effort into them still wasn't enough to get them to fully open up. And that's why I tell people all the time too, if you're dating an emotionally unavailable person, expect them to stay that way, unless they are actively trying to open up, because you can't open them up. They have to actively want to open up. And a lot of them don't, because they equate being emotionally available and open with danger and pain. So why would they? But it takes that person to decide to open up. You can't love them enough to open them up. And I feel like that's a lesson that you learned in this past life. Again, I feel like you were very devastated, but again, there's this lesson of not trying to love someone so much and invest so much into them that they finally see your value and open up to you, is what I'm seeing. Because I really feel shock coming from your end, where you're like, what? Like when they say, no, I'm not coming, you're genuinely shocked, because you're like, I've been putting in energy and effort into this person for years. What? Like, they're still not fully opened up to me? Like, they're shocked that's there. And I feel like it was a very harsh, lesson to learn. I feel like the main lesson was to not put energy and effort into these types of connections where you're doing all of the heavy lifting. You're doing all of the emotional labor. Because in the end, you ended up getting nothing out of it, which I feel like you did learn that lesson in this lifetime. You did realize that in this past life. I do see that you did end up, it looks like you did end up with someone else, but I feel like it was never as intense or strong as the connection that you had with this other person. I'm saying that this other person, I don't think they ended up with anyone else. So this lifetime, you could be going through a similar cycle with this person. This person could be, like I said, emotionally unavailable, or they could be a bit closed off, or there could be some sort of barrier standing in your way of being together. In this past life, the barrier was their emotional wall that they had up. But in this lifetime, in the past life, this is getting confusing. In the past life, the blockage was this emotional wall that was up. In this lifetime, it could be anything. Any blockage. It doesn't have to be an emotional wall. It could be that, but it could be anything. Maybe they are far away from you in this lifetime. Maybe they don't live in the same country as you, or maybe I don't know, just anything, all the blockages that twin flames and soulmates experience. I feel like there's distance between you, whether that be physically or emotionally. There's something between you two that make it that you can't fully connect, and you might be trying your best to invest time and energy into clearing whatever blockage that is, but you can't clear it on your own. They have to participate and cooperate, you see? So whatever this block is, they have to actively be trying to remove it. You can't be the only one trying to remove that block and trying to fight your way into their heart, and trying to invest energy and effort into, finally getting into this partnership. They have to do some of the heavy lifting, is what I'm seeing here. And I think that that's the gist of the relationship in this lifetime, is to know when to not do the heavy lifting any longer, and to instead invest all of that energy, time, and effort into yourself and into your sense of self-worth. Because again, in this past life, there did seem to be an issue with self-worth that was there. And so that you could possibly still carry that wound with you in this lifetime, and all of that energy and effort that, is being put into this person, it needs to be put into yourself, which I know sounds really cliche, focus on yourself, love yourself, all that. It sounds cliche, but it's true. It's very true, because you invested years of energy into this person. Imagine if you would have turned that energy inward, invested that type of energy like into yourself. You would have accomplished so much. Not to say that you didn't accomplish anything, because sometimes when you are in love with someone, you just have to invest, right? Because you don't ever want to regret not investing, like what could have happened. So I feel like that's something that you felt you needed to do. But in this lifetime, I do feel like you are more aware, and you're more like, okay, that energy, effort, time, love, all of that, I need to turn that inward and give it to myself. And if this person is meant to be with me, then they are going to have to clear whatever blockage is on their end. They're going to have to clear that, because you can't clear it, whatever it is. If they have, like, let's say they have like an ex that they're still attached to, and that's the blockage between you two, just as an example. They have an ex that they're still attached to, and that's the blockage between you two. You can't love them so much and put so much energy in until they forget about their ex. That's not how it works. They will have to do the work to get rid of their ex, or to get over their ex. They would have to do that. You see, it's like you can't do the heavy lifting for them, is what I'm seeing. And that's how you are going to have a successful outcome in this, is if you put all of that energy, all that heavy lifting, put it into yourself, and allow them to use their free will to remove the blockages on their own, and then if you're meant to be together after that, then of course the universe will make sure that you find your way back to each other. So that is it. Yep, that's it, group 3. Thank you for watching. If you feel like you resonate with any of the other piles, go ahead and watch. And if not, I will see you guys in my next video. And also, my readings are open, so the link to my readings will be in the description box, if you want to book a reading. And the link will also be in the comment section. So I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.